Hi, it's another wonderful episode of Bookish Reflections, and I have a very interesting guest with me. Her name is Temilade Aina. She is the founder of Book Peddler NG. If you are not following Book Peddler on Instagram, man, you are missing because that is where you get all of the latest books available, and she's doing a terrific job in promoting reading and basically books. It's a haven for book lovers, and I'm so excited that she's joining me on this episode of Bookish Reflections as we will be discussing a very, very wonderful book, and I can't wait to delve into the discussion. We'll be discussing Swallow. Swallow has been making all the rounds, probably because Kule Afolayan just made a movie out of it, and I can assure you that it's a good story. And so we'll be discussing about escaping poverty in Nigeria. So sit back and enjoy our conversation. Or before we even go, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please subscribe, like, and please share with all of your friends and family who are basically book lovers and those you wish will become book lovers, because here we talk about really amazing books and explore social issues through amazing characters. So here is my conversation with Temilade Aina. Good afternoon, Temi. Thank you for joining me. I'm so excited I get to discuss Swallow. I mean, it's the book that everybody is talking about, not because it's a book, but because there is a movie. And you
There's
know,
a
when
movie, yeah.
when Korea Afolayan brings a movie, everybody is always talking about it. And I've been
Yeah.
advising people to try to read the book first before the movie. So,
Yeah.
first and foremost, how did you feel about the story in the book overall? What was your impression of the story?
So I think that uh, the story it was a good one, or rather, it's a good story. So it covered a lot of things. It covered poverty, covered military rule, covered sexual assault in the workplace, covered family relationship, drug,
Yeah.
drug peddling, covered so many things in such a short telling. So I think that the story is a good one, and I think that the movie version of it was good.
Ah, okay.
But I
As,
always, like you said,
yeah.
I think that people should read the book before they watch the
Yeah.
movie.
Yes, I think so too. Always advised. Read the book
Yeah,
before you watch the
yeah,
movie. So
yeah.
which of the characters did you like identify with? Like you were reading and you felt, oh, I understand her pain, or I understand her joys or his joy, whichever character. Which one stood out to you? Most times people usually go for the main character, but in some books, it's not some people don't even identify with the main character. It could be someone else, or somebody the author just glosses over, and then that character kind of speaks to you. So which character spoke to you or you identified with most?
This is a tough one. So, um, I would say that I could identify with most of the characters in some of the conversations they had. Let me start with Rose. I understand what it means to be poor in Nigeria, right?
Mm,
Or to have not necessarily poor, or not to have opportunities in Nigeria, or to have opportunities but you have them taken away from you because you can't meet up to someone's level of depravity or something like that. Yeah.
mm,
So I actually can understand with Rose. I understand with Tolani, or rather, I identify with Tolani as being the shy person, but who also
quiet.
knows, yes, quiet, but who also knows when to stand up for herself. So while she was able to take in so many things from her colleagues at work, when it was time for her to stand up for Rose, she stood up for her. So um, I may not be the kind of person who challenges you when you annoy me, but when you annoy my family, I can stand up for them at that point to get like I can defend my sister
Yeah.
when someone says nonsense, that kind of a thing. Yeah, so I think I can identify with Rose. I think maybe because they are the two, rather Tolani, I think because they are the two main characters, I was able to put myself in their shoes at every point in time. But every time I was reading the book. Then Um, Tolani's mother, so I could identify with her.
Mm,
Yeah, I could identify with her being a person of her own, not waiting to, not being dependent on anybody, not waiting on handouts and stuff like that, even if it didn't
mm,
seem like the normal thing at that time. So yeah, so those
yeah.
three characters, yeah.
Yeah, I think I like your choice or your choices of characters because there was something to pick from everyone, you know. And you
Yeah,
spoke about yeah, you spoke about Polani's mom, which is where we're coming to. You know, Sefi Atta's style is not, you can't pin her to one particular style. So she does this parallel storytelling where she's also
yeah,
telling Tolani's mother's story at the same time
yeah.
telling Tolani's story. At what point did you find the two women, Arike and Tolani, similar? Or at what point did you, was Sefi Atta trying to pinpoint differences? I know the time there, of course, we'll talk about time difference because Tolani's time and Arika's time was so far apart. But what
Yeah.
do you think about both characters and the times in which they lived or were living, and how do they act in the same way or differently?
Hmm. This is a tough one. So they act the same in the sense that they knew they had principles and they stood for that.
Mm,
So
yeah.
Tolani was principled. While poverty did her dirty, she wasn't
Mm,
ready to she wasn't ready to smuggle drugs or peddle drugs. Um, Arike also, poverty, she wasn't portrayed as someone that poverty did dirty, but she was principled. She um and I think her principle came, or yeah, her morals came from a standpoint, the standpoint of being independent. So because she was principled and independent, it was easy for her to go through life, or it was
mm,
easier for her to go through life than Tolani, who was poor but principles. You get, so that poverty thing made Tolani rethink her stance about morality and what's the big deal in peddling drugs, or it's just a one-off thing. I'm going to get $1,500, which was a lot of money then. So
yeah, a lot of
yeah, yeah. So I think they were similar. It was just poverty that made the difference between the two of them.
mm. Yeah, and I think when you want to talk about courage and boldness, I really have to give it to Tolani's mom. I mean, trying to ride a bike in that time, knowing that
Yeah.
what a woman shouldn't do some things in those days,
Yes.
and she
Yeah.
dared to do it, and she didn't give a damn what anybody was saying. And she did what she wanted to do when she wanted to do it, and
Yeah.
I mean that was one part of her that I really, really, like. So now you spoke about poverty and how it's really portrayed in the book. Except people really read the book, we will have to mention a lot of instances because the whole book is saddled with cases of poverty. By the time you
Yeah.
talk about Tony's compound, where she and Rose lived, and when Sefi Atta talks about each of those characters, you can see poverty underlining many of them. So
Yeah.
we can't shake that off from this story. How do you think um how do you think this poverty as a whole influenced the events in the story overall? How was it the main thing, the main point of focus for Atta, that she uses it to, I think basically she builds up on it in all the events
All the
that happened in all
characters.
the characters' lives.
Yeah.
How did poverty shape the event or the choices that these people made in the book?
I think it informed everything that happened. So, for instance, poverty made Tolani and Rose stay in a job they were sexually harassed in. So,
Mhm.
um, it's easy for people to say, "Oh, if your job is giving you issues, you should walk away." But if I'm poor and I'm the breadwinner of my family, where do I walk to? Do you understand? I'm poor
Yeah.
and maybe I have limited opportunities. Maybe, for instance, I don't have advanced educational qualification and I can't just walk. Poverty will make me stay. So poverty contributed to Rose's decision to push drugs. I don't think it was greed. I think it was poverty. Yeah, greed played a part, but poverty, I would say poverty played maybe like 60%, then greed played 40%. Then Sonwo, Tolani's boyfriend, he made bad business decisions because he was poor and dependent on his uncle. Then Rosie's sister as well. What was her name? I can't remember her name now. Um,
Violet. Violet.
Either Violet or Flora. Yes, a Violet. She went to Italy to be a sex worker, not because she was happy to do it, because she was poor as well. Um, their mom, Rosie's mom, had all her kids from different men because she was looking for money as well. So I think everything. The only person that wasn't affected by poverty in that story was Solani's mother. Every other person was affected by poverty. Tolani's colleagues at work, they stayed because they didn't have any other choice. The guy who was, what was this guy? The born again Christian there, he stayed
Godwin.
on. Yes, Godwin. I think his name was Godwin. He stayed on at the job, and then he was going to a church where his pastor was brainwashing them and things like that. Everything. I think every part of the story was just a show of how poverty can affect one's choices. This woman, Mrs. Durojaye, she stayed in that
Mm.
house because she didn't have a choice. I feel like for someone like her, who was a nurse at that time, if her husband was settled and was a reasonable person, their living condition would have been better. They might have not been staying in that house. Then the other woman who was always pregnant, I can't remember her name. Why I don't know why I can't remember the name of all the characters. But that one who was always pregnant and who was always reading, who Tolani saw
Yes,
the
and
house.
the name Mama Chidi, I guess.
Yes, Mama
Mama
Chidi.
Chidi.
Yes. I
Yes.
think that someone like Mama Chidi she was literate, but she couldn't make a better choice about her living condition because again, poverty. So all of them, it was just so the funny thing is that I didn't see it as poverty until when you sent me your flyer. And I was like, it was really poverty that pushed these people. Because I think it was after you sent the flyer, I started thinking about it that they weren't just doing those things or they weren't just being there because they wanted to. I I I thought of it as Nigerian condition. And then it now occurs to me, it's not just Nigerian condition. Nigerian condition is so many things. But this particular one is poverty that impacted all of them the, in the way they live their lives and the kind of conditions they chose to stay in. Yeah.
Yeah, so what's the way forward for young people? I feel like every time we young people, I mean, it's ironic that we are doing this just a year after the NSAS
Yeah.
movement, and it's I kept thinking about it after reading the book. The Buhari regime was the setting for which this book was written. That was Buhari's
Yeah.
regime of 1989, I
Yes.
guess,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he's still
He's
the
still
leader,
the
or he's now the
yeah.
leader. And so we had poverty then, and we still have it now. What is the way forward for Nigerians, for young people? What can we do?
Okay. So this is tough to answer. The reason it's tough to answer is because I believe that everybody puts their best and everybody puts efforts into whatever venture they attempt. At least most people I know. So while we can advise people to get a job, use their skills to make income for themselves, we can't advise people out of unfavorable government decisions, which puts a hold
Mm.
to people's progress. You get. So yes, while I'll say get a job, get a side hustle, um, pray and things like that. I would also say that if you can make impacts at the level of your local government, you should go for it. Do you get? So um if you know that by being the local government chairman or by being the ward councillor, you can do
Mm.
something political or something like that, you can influence choices, you can influence decisions, or you know people in power that you can talk to and they would listen, by all means, please push for it. Um, so there's this thing that we always say that we should vote and things like that, and our vote counts. Yes, go out and vote. Campaign for those you believe in. Just do everything you think you can. And if you think that the best, I don't know, this might feel like a bad advice, but if you feel like the best decision for you is to leave this country, by all means, go out and explore. People whenever people advocate for making better decisions or improving income skills, most times they will say, do your job, put yourself out there, let your boss know what you're doing and stuff like that. I'm telling you that there are people that work hard, but they are still in financial
Yeah.
ruin. Not because they are lazy or because they are or because they spend unwisely. No, it's not because of that. It's just they've gone through things that would kill any normal human being. And sometimes, or rather, like I said earlier, you can't advise your way out of poverty in some instances. So just do everything you can to put yourself in a better position. If you are a breadwinner, so for instance, if I'm the breadwinner of my family and my income is 200,000 naira per month, and I have maybe like 3 kids. School fees alone, no matter how hard working I am, school fees alone
Yeah.
has taken up like the chunk of my bills. Then I have house rent to pay, I have food, I have my parents to take care of and things like that. So even if I'm very hardworking, except
Mm.
I'm working in a place like a multinational that they are paying me like huge amounts of money, maybe like 6 figures, rather 7 figures, then I would say, okay, I might be comfortable. But I could be earning 200,000 and you'll be earning 200,000, but I might still be poorer than you. Not because I'm a bad spender, but because I just have more responsibilities. And that's the reality of things
Yeah.
these days. Especially as we are growing older and we see that a lot of us, our parents are retiring. Some of them did not hold pensionable jobs. Those that had pensionable jobs, we know that it's very difficult to get our pensions out. So to be very honest, some things are very hard. But
Yeah.
as much as you do everything, the life of crime is not one I would say you should go into. That's so I would say you should do everything you can except commit a crime. That's it.
Yeah. Important to accept commit a crime, because even if you don't even want to be in the prisons that Nigeria has these days, like
Yeah.
it will be a very, I mean, no, I can't even imagine it. Okay, so we have to run now. So what do you
Okay.
think, book or the movie?
The
Which one
book.
did it for you?
The book. The book. So there's things that the movie didn't touch. So the movie just gave us maybe like 15 minutes of Arike. Didn't give us any of that.
Yeah, I was
So
looking forward to meeting yes, I was looking forward to meeting Arike. I even wanted to see her drive the bike. I wanted to see
yeah.
her back and forth with her brother-in-law and all that.
Yeah, and I also wanted to see there was someone else that she talked about. No, there was someone else that was in the book that wasn't represented. A small girl that was um that
Yeah,
was in labor.
yes, yeah. Oh, what's her name? Her name is off my mind now. Who she's like, when I call her the tatafo of the compound, like she
Yes,
hears everything
yes,
and says it. Yeah, and okay, yes, that would have been an interesting character to have been
yes,
added into the book.
yes,
You're right. At the end of the day, it's always the book, right? It's
yes. No,
usually
it's the
always the
book
book. Yeah, because the producers are constrained with time.
with
Maybe the movie
time.
has the
Yeah.
span yeah, so they have to remove a chunk load of so many things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Briefly before we go, I always ask people, what is that one book that you think everybody should read before they die? Like, if you were to recommend, somebody's about to die tomorrow, and like, you can't die until you read this book, what will it be?
All the books that you have not, all the books that are on your bookshelf that I have not read. Can't read everything.
Okay.
Especially those ones,
Important though.
especially those ones that you told yourself you were really going to read and you spent money to buy. Why haven't you read it? But those ones that you
Yeah.
started and then they didn't suit you and you said you were not going to finish it, those ones, it's fine, you can drop them. But see those other ones on your bookshelf, please read them.
Yeah, okay, that's a very interesting advice. So to those who are listening to us, I should have said in the beginning of our conversation that you're doing fantastic with Book Peddler.
Thank
I mean,
you.
thank you for your
Thank you.
contribution to the reading space. It's a passion of mine. I teach reading, I preach reading, I talk reading. People know me that I am synonymous with books. So when I get to meet people like you, it's like, yes, people are fine, are contributing to this message I have been preaching, because I believe that a whole lot of us would do better if with a book. If some people
Yeah.
can't even read a book in a year, and therein lies their deliverance. I mean, in a book could be where somebody gets his next breakthrough by the virtue of the things you learn. So thank you for what you do at Book Peddler. Thank you
Thank
for the
you.
amazing title to give us
Thank
to
you.
check out, and keeping our reading fire burning. So well done. And again,
Thank
thank you
you.
for taking time to be with me to discuss Swallow.
Thank
I
you.
thought I'm going to call you again. I'm going to call you again. I hope you will not
Okay.
reject my offer next
I
time.
won't.
So very much.
Thank
I'll
you
talk
for
to you another
having me.
time.
All right. Thank you.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Take care. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Temilade Aina. So many things to discuss, but little time. So join me for another interesting episode this time next month. Every last Saturday of the month, I bring you something interesting and something, a book worth talking about. So, like, subscribe to my channel. You can follow me on all my social media platforms. On Instagram, I am at Onome Onwa, and on Twitter, I am at Bookish Reflects. Yes, Bookish Reflects. Just go on Twitter and go on Instagram. Follow me. Facebook, I am Onome Onwa. You'll find me there. So, looking forward to talking with you next time. Bye.